Okay, here we have to recognize that the quadratic is in vertex form. So it's really easy to find the vertex. It's simply the opposite of the number inside, so 1, and we obtain the value outside, 1, 3. Now I need to find another convenient point. I'm going to substitute x equals 0. And that just simply means it gets substituted in here. This 0 gets substituted for x right here. Now let's just take our time. 0 minus 1 is negative 1. Now you have to remember at this step, you have to do the exponent first. So I get negative 2 times 1, negative 1 times negative 1 is 1 plus 3. Negative 2 plus 3. I simply obtain 1. So my other point is 0, 1. Let's write that there. So other point is 0, 1. That's it. And if you were to graph it, I'll do that on the board. So once we have this information, it's really simple. Okay, let's erase this, so I got to start over, sorry. So we have to recognize that this is in standard form, and we have to use opposite b over 2a to find the vertex. Now this is a, this is b, and this is c. So the opposite b over 2a is simply going to be opposite of 4 over 2 times a, which is 2. I get negative 4 over 4, which is negative 1. So my vertex is going to be negative 1 substitute. Immediately after this step, I replace every x with the parentheses. So now what gets substituted in there? The negative 1 is going to get substituted in there. Negative 1, negative 1. Now let's take our time. 2 times negative 1 times negative 1 is 1. 4 times negative 1 is negative 4. And minus 1. So 2 minus 4 minus 1. I get negative 2 minus 1. Finally, I get negative 3. So my vertex is negative 1. The sub, I found the sub value. It's negative 3. And my other point is going to be easy. It's x equals 0. Y equals, since you're substituting it, this is going to be 0, this is going to be 0. You're left with the constant term, which is negative 1. So what are your important bits of information? Your vertex is important, and your other point is important. So the vertex is negative 1, negative 3, and this is our other point. Let's do the last one. So here we have to first change it into standard form. Now, when you multiply 3 times 4 times 5, you could do it in any order you want because multiplication is commutative. So here I could do 4 times 5 first, and then do 20 times 3 to get 60. So I'm going to use the same strategy over here. I'm going to multiply this times this first, and then multiply by 2. Now I like using the box method. You don't have to do that, but make sure your answer matches. So we have x squared plus 4x plus 3. Now, don't forget, we have to multiply by the 2. So I'm going to do that in a different color to really show it. And now I can just go across, distribute across. So I get 2x squared plus 8x plus 6. So we have to work with this, y equals that. I'm simply going to go to the next slide and use that. Y equals 2x squared plus 8x plus 6. Y equals 2x squared plus 8x plus 6. Now that it's in standard form, I could simply find the vertex. Opposite B over 2A. Of course, my A is 2, B is 8. Okay, so opposite of B is going to be negative 8. 2 times A is 2 times 2. Negative 8 over 4 is negative 2. So my vertex is opposite of 2, substitute. Immediately after this step, I replace every x with a parentheses, and I need to put a negative 2 here. This gets substituted in. Now remember the order. You have to do exponents first. 2 times 4, 8 times negative 2. You know what? I'm just going to show extra steps. That's okay. So now I get 8 minus 16 plus 6. Negative 8 plus 6 is negative 2. So this time, my x value and y value are the same. So my vertex is negative 2, comma, negative 2. Right? So let me replace the sub. I have found this value, so I'm just going to make that negative 2. We found it here. And my other point is x equals 0. It's always going to be your C term, which is 6. So important bits of information are this.